right. Welcome to Coaching Youth Hoops. How
Coach,
how are you?
you know, talking
Any
hoops, as we
any
always
day we're
say,
talking
can't
hoops, man. Any day
have
we're talking.
no problems when we're talking hoops.
I know it
Everything's
is. It's
great.
good. It's good. I know. And we're talking about shooting. My college
Yeah,
coach would say I never saw a shot I didn't like.
he would tell that to you, yeah.
He would
Yeah,
have.
you,
He did
yeah.
probably several
So
times.
this is right up your alley. You should have a
I
lot
had
of knowledge and feedback to help
I'll tell you a
coaches.
story about my high school coach coming into locker room at halftime and just chewing me out about
All right,
like,
hold that story. We'll come to that. But
okay,
before we get started,
ooh,
let's
that's
give a
good.
big shout out to uh, Game Changer. Talk about your stats and shooting stats. Use Game Changer to track your entire team shooting, plus a lot more rebounds. Basically any stat you want to track, they do that all automatically. Just point the camera on the court and sit back, and after the game, you'll have a full playbook of stats. Go to gc.com/coaching youth hoops.
Love that. Yes. So, all right. So let me finish the story. So went into locker room at halftime, and I had taken
Mhm.
some really bad shots, and he just let me know that he was not happy with the shot
Well,
selection.
what's a bad shot, coach? And maybe that's a good place to
And
start.
that's what we're gonna do. Well, it was like I wasn't shooting. This was well, okay. I'm gonna age myself. This was pre three pointers, so this was just me being, I wouldn't say selfish, but me not hesitating on scoring and getting to the basket and the things that I was able to 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 do. Um, and he called me out. I mean that was 40 years ago because I think I have our 40th coming up. It's like I remember that vividly, and I remember him like he was right. It was like I wasn't I was worried about me rather than us, and I was making some bad decisions, and it I think it helped our team moving forward. I think it helped me moving forward as a player, as a person. Um,
What
but
grade were you in, or what?
I was
This was in college or
no, this is in
sophomore?
high school.
Oh, high
Maybe it
school.
was
Oh, okay.
well, he moved me to point guard, and I really wasn't a point guard junior year, so I think it was senior year.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Um, because he knew he needed it, and anyway, yeah, it was good, and it was like I think it's going to lead into tracking how we talk about shot selection and how we and this is something that I my coaches and I have talked about recently too, but talk about what you do with the green light thing, and I'll talk about kind of what we do then.
Well, first you have to identify what is a good shot versus a bad shot and what that might look like. And a bad shot, I mean, there are, I guess that you can make a definite argument. There are bad shots that you shouldn't take if got somebody in your face or two people on you, you're just throwing the ball up and praying. But there's those gray area shots. So what I talk about is your green light shot. Your green light shot is different than mine. I was never a 3-point shooter, so that is not my green light shot. My green light shot would be inside the three, short range underneath the basket. Okay, that's my green light shot. And could I have developed a 3-point shot? Absolutely.
Right.
Um, but you have to have a starting point. So I always say hit your green light shot. Your green light shot is like, okay, you have a high percentage of making that, right? It's
Right.
average or above
We ran the
average.
flex, and mine was the elbow shot. I mean, I literally
Oh,
can beat. I've beaten NBA players, former, future NBA. But I have lost very few games of horse in against my
uh-huh.
players unless they move me out of my range deep, which is
Right.
I don't tend to play those kids because I can't beat them. Uh, uh, but
Smart.
I will beat a lot of people shooting at the elbows. I will just keep. I won't miss them. I
Yeah.
literally close my eyes and I can feel that distance right now because that was where I could get a shot coming off, the flex and kind of some of those
Mhm.
things. So that was definitely a green light shot for me. That was in. If I was shooting that, it was in. I
And I
take it.
think it's okay too to talk about that as a team. And I do is saying, doesn't mean that, you know, if you work out a little bit harder, that your green light range will change or move or get further. So when we're doing specific things where when we're running the blitz, for example, and you're coming off of that ball handoff, some people have a green light shot to hit the shot right at the top of the key. Others like, okay, you gotta go in because that's your green light shot. You got to go
Right.
penetrate the 3-point line. And I always emphasize it's like I'd rather have you take a higher percentage shot for you and work on what we need to work on, like your 3-point range. It still needs a
Right.
little bit of work, right?
And the thing is, like, I've had teams where I've had players that think they are 3-point shooters and they are not three
Correct.
point shooters.
Yeah.
So we have, like, you can get a license to shoot, like you can get a license to drive, you can
Mm-hmm.
get a license to shoot
Mm-hmm.
a three. But then
Yeah.
how do you do that? And we have to set up different criteria about, okay, what does this entail? Like, you have to make so many threes in an empty gym with someone rebounding for you. You have to make so many. So we have different criteria depending on the player and the thing. Because they have to prove to me, and sometimes we'll track practice and keep stats in practice. But I said, you gotta take your driver's test, just like you gotta take your 3-point shooting test. You got to come in here. And I said, you should be able to hit threes in an unguarded in a gym at a six from high school kid, varsity kid, high level
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
program, 60% time, easy. Like, when you're not guarded and I'm just throwing you the ball, there's no defense, there's no pressure. Um, at a
Yeah.
60% clip, because it's going to drop about 20-30% when you are moving in full court, blah blah blah. And then I say, come do this. You come do this a couple days in a row and hit these, then we'll have a discussion about what your green light shot is. But until you show me that, it's like,
You got to earn it, is what
you
you're
got to earn
saying.
it.
Yeah.
And there's people on my team that have, like, I have a couple players this year that if they are open and they don't shoot a three, they will be in trouble.
Right.
Because they are that
Yes.
good as shooters. Like,
Yeah.
why didn't you shoot that? That's selfish, you not shooting that. You were
Yeah.
open and it was in your range and you were settled and you passed it up. Now,
Yeah, and that's
the
an interesting
constraints are
point that we
different.
don't
Yeah.
talk about as much too, is that reverse of that. We talk about selfish players just wanting to shoot all the time, but there's also you can be selfish and not make a play, right? For whatever reason, you're not,
Right.
multiple
And
reasons
there's
in your
time
head why you're not
issues.
doing
Like,
it.
I don't
So
want you shooting that three. We're up seven with, 48 seconds to go. What are you doing?
absolutely. Right. That's game management,
That's
which we're
game
going to
management
address in
in a
right.
future week. We're going to talk
Yeah.
about game management. Yep.
But yeah, it's a difficult thing because you have to define that with your team, and then you have to define it with your team in general. You have to define it in game situations, and then you have to define it at the individual level. So how does a youth coach go from I don't know my players to okay, this person can shoot here and this person can shoot here? Generally speaking, is this. If you're in third grade, very rare exceptions that a green light shot is outside the 3-point line. Right? All right, just general. So it makes it, I guess, in one hand, it makes it a lot easier for you. I never discourage anyone shooting kind of some mid-range shots or oh, yeah, that's not your green light shot. A green light shot could also be the situation where, man, if you had one more pass, that was a better shot for that other person than what you had. Maybe you had someone closing out on you. Maybe it's a yellow light shot. One more pass would have made it a green light shot for your teammate. And I think it's learned through repetition.
Yes, it is. It is. And it's like, well, the players that I have on my team that have the green lights
Hmm.
have
Hmm.
put the time in.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, one of them has a basketball court inside in their house. So that's a plus, especially in Wisconsin. But
Yeah.
um, but they put the time in. That's why they've
Mhm.
gotten that green light to be able to go and shoot and do some of those things. But I think it's like most things in the basketball team, it's communication too. It's explaining roles. It's understanding that you run a talented and gifted program for basketball players, and some are more talented at some skills and some are more talented at other
That's
skills.
right.
And, like, here's what you're and I'm not saying you can't shoot this, but I'm saying here's when you should shoot this, and here's how you can shoot that. So let's work together to, let's how can we get reps? Maybe you're a sophomore. How do you want to shoot threes? Like, like Lopez for the Bucks, he's 6'11". He wasn't a 3-point shooter when he came in the NBA, but he knew the league was changing and he knew he was going to have to become a 3-point shooter to widen this court and make it bigger. So Giannis can get to the basket and dunk on people. But I mean, that's the reality of it too. You got to put that time in. All right. Other
And I
things,
think it's a,
coach?
yeah.
Go
Well, I was
ahead.
going to say, I think it is a hard skill to teach. And the frustrating thing about basketball from a young player's perspective is all the exceptions to the rules. So again, kind of game management situation. If you're down one, right, and you happen to get the ball and there's, a few seconds left on the clock and you're standing in a situation where that is not your green light shot, but you better get that ball in the air just because to Hail Mary at that point. You got to throw it up. Well, coach, you told me that's not my green light shot, so I can't shoot that. Well, right? Well, that's an exception, right? And that's the frustrating part. But you again teach them what a uncontested shot looks like, and a contested shot, and a semi-contested shot, right? A closeout shot, your individual green light shot, and it's going to take time and it's going to take reps. I think that's
It
what it
is.
comes down to. But hand in
All
your
right.
face or just throwing up the ball, right, is probably never a good situation unless
No,
it's a couple seconds left on the clock and you got to get the ball in. So,
I agree. All
um,
right. Anything else, coach?
yeah, coaches, go check out Coaching Youth Hoops for all your coaching resources. We have practice plans, game strategy, drill libraries, uh, free resources, blog posts, so much material to help you on your journey. Go to coachingyouthhoops.com for all of that awesome material.
All right. Go check it out. All right, coach. Till next week.
Till next week.